will be suspended for members to be briefed with regards to public engagement on their views with regards to the impeachment motion.
The House Business Committee has approved a program of public participation across the country to be coordinated from the 47 counties on 4th October 2024. That's Friday this week.
233 members, which is 2/3 of the 349 MPs, shall remain the threshold during voting, addressing earlier concerns regarding the absence of 4 members.
Article 124(3) of the Constitution provides that the proceedings of a House of Parliament are not invalid merely on account of a vacancy in its membership. That settles the issue.
Considering that the motion must be dispensed of on the same particular day, there is a reasonable expectation that after being heard, whoever is hearing you is given adequate time to review what you have said and incorporate the same in the decision.
This is the House where charges are framed. The trial chamber is the Senate. This chamber could easily vote on the motion after the mover and the seconder if there's nobody debating it.
Mheshimiwa Spika, nilikuwa na swali, mbona aje saa 11 mpaka saa 2? Naona muda utakuwa umekwenda sana na tutakuwa na wasiwasi. Wajua Mheshimiwa Spika, giza ina siri zake. Kwa hiyo sijui mbona asije mapema Mheshimiwa Spika, tulimalize kwa mwangaza. Asante sana.
Having given him 5 to 7 to speak, the House should be informed that should there be interest to continue with the debate thereafter, we are going to move a procedural motion for the House to sit on Tuesday 8th from 9 a.m. to midnight. So you'll still have time to deal with any issue. Mama Zamzam, mimi huwa nasikia ati shetani anapenda usiku, lakini huyo shetani haishi hapa bungeni.
Amid concerns of safety as raised by members, Speaker Wetangula clarified there are arrangements to provide additional security to the members. Kamchemenza.
Very well, welcome back. This is KBC Channel 1 and we have a special coverage of today, which as I started out saying, that is historical and unprecedented. We've never seen an impeachment motion against a deputy president, and especially in light of the 2010 Constitution. Well, the genesis of this began after the motion that was fronted by Kibwezi West MP gathered 291 votes, and so the next process that is today is a public participation process. I'm still joined by the panelists that I was with. Just next to me on my right we have Wambui Shadrack, who is a constitutional lawyer and a governance expert. We have Sami Kipkemboi Meli, who is a governance expert, and just next to him we have Oscar Omondi, who is a political scientist and also a university lecturer. Well, gentlemen, we are looking at the process of which we will look at it properly and dissect it in the evening after we've been able to compile what exactly Kenya, the views of Kenya. But let me begin with you, Akili, because we have seen impeachment motions against governors that go to the Senate. We've never seen a governor actually being grilled by the National Assembly. Why this time round? He'll have his session 2 hours on Tuesday, and later on, if the motion makes its way to Senate, he will also have to defend himself at the Senate. Why?
Well, these offices, the office that the president and the deputy president enjoy, and even those governors, these offices are created by the Constitution. So we say, in other words, they are the creatures of the Constitution. So that if you've been made by the Constitution, you can also, be removed from those offices through the process of the Constitution, or the process that the Constitution has decreed. So the Constitution, in its very design, has designed the removal, quite expressly, it has designed the removal of the president by way of incapacity, if the president is unable to, is unable to do his work because of some medical or health concern, or through a means of impeachment. So when you read down the Constitution, you find that the Constitution proposes that for you to have or to remove the deputy president from office, then you will remove him through the process that is created for the removal of the president. So that, stating expressly, we do not have express provisions that tell us how to remove a deputy president. We only seek to modify and make alterations whenever possible on the provisions that are there for the removal of the president from office. So the reason why you don't see the removal of governors from office being conducted at the assembly is, number one, because of the architect of the Constitution. The Constitution has created it in a manner that says that when we are dealing with a governor or the deputy governor, the mover of that motion should be a member of the county assembly. And now once it has succeeded, then the trial chamber becomes now the Senate, which is seen as, we have a bicameral system. So we have now the Senate now taking the role of the trial chamber, where you go there and you are tried. So that is the design of the removing of a governor from office. But now, when you now interrogate the Constitution as far as the deputy president and the president is concerned, which is a national level, so the mandate, it is not actually, I heard someone say it is a right to impeach. No, we have rights, we have duties, and we have privileges. So that it is now a duty that is bestowed on our members of the National Assembly to commence a motion for the ouster or the removal of a president or the deputy president from office. So when they now take over that responsibility, in fact, the Constitution in itself does not contemplate of a situation like the one that the Honorable Speaker has created on Tuesday next week. It does not conceive of a situation where the deputy president or the president would be heard at the National Assembly. So the hearings or the trial is actually designed to be done at the Senate. So in my very humble estimation, I would think that this is just but a constitutional overkill. That we are seeing a member or a National Assembly that is keen on crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. So that when this issue, in the event that it finds itself in courts, then they will have exercised a lot of caution at the trial stage, of course, to persuade the court that there was no error that they did. And in a sense, you will say that the National Assembly is just using what Justice Antonin Scalia, a deceased judge who was a member of the Supreme Court in America, would say, by using a belt and a suspender. So, a belt will serve the very same purpose as a suspender. Yes. But when you choose to use both of them, you're using them just out of abundance of caution. They do not want to open any window of opportunity that the deputy president, if at all the motion succeeds, he is going to go to court and say that, well, my right to a fair trial was breached. Because you see, the right to a fair trial is one of those rights in the Constitution that you cannot limit. We have limit. You have rights that you can limit and others that you cannot limit. So the Constitution says that when it comes to an issue of you being tried, you must be given a fair trial as one of the rights that you cannot limit under the Constitution.
Very well. Gentlemen, let me jump the gun and say that however this motion goes, there will be political ramifications or consequences for that. Mel, you're a governance expert. What do you think are some of them that we can expect?
Yes, if this vote goes through, we expect Honorable Rigathi, now being a free man, he will now start speaking the truth. And he will tell us what was in the kitchen.
And the Kenyans
that we
are really
didn't see the
that.
chef handling. Sometimes the fish could have fallen and he picked it and put in the plate directly. So there are, and number two, to the leadership of UDA, the central Kenya vote is a little bit unstable at the moment. So if this goes through, perhaps we'll get a 50-50 split, which the president will have to work on by 2027. It should be back. But what we are expecting, one is, of course, there would be public emotions, people displaying their emotions about this, the way we have just seen right now. The final one is, you see, there are these members of parliament, perhaps, that either will turn up to be a darling of the people or the people's enemy. So as we were discussing, we were saying there are people who will vote on Tuesday and they'll be just gone like that politically. So they have a lot of political ramifications on that, on that side. At the same time, we would have set a precedence in our constitution, whereby we have also enough checks and balances to help us know the rogue members of, the rogue deputy presidents, or even the president will be careful himself also from now onwards, knowing that you can go at half term. You mustn't finish the term. So we'll join the school children in going for half term. So
and Oscar, I'm looking at the broad-based formation, or the broad-based government. Does the dynamics of the broad-based formation have anything to do with this impeachment, in your view?
Yes, it has so much. One, you know, in Kenya, we mobilize for political experience. We mobilize based on our ethnic groups. That one we have to accept. Whether tribal or not tribal, we talk about it. But at the end of the day, when we go for our elections, we go back to our tribes. That is the Kenyan politics. That's how we mobilize. In Europe, people mobilize based on class. They have Social Democratic Party, you have the Greens Party, you have Agriculture Party, Christians Party. People mobilize differently. Here, we mobilize based on our ethnic groups. Broad-based government, when it was formed, a perception was created that a certain, especially Luo Nyanza, being Raila Odinga having been a leader, seen to be a leader mostly, his vote basket is in Luo Nyanza. The broad basket was seen as bringing in the Luo Nyanza, the Western Kenya through Oparanya, and the coast also through Hassan Joho, and also the Turkana through, you know, there are 5 actually, not who came from the opposition to join government. Now, it will be impactful when Rigathi Gachagua is impeached, for example. The vote basket that brought President William Ruto to power on the first term will change. That is a big shift that will happen. Will change, and a different. He's trying to, because he's realized probably that he's lost the mountain, and the mountain has gone, for example, unless a miracle happens now. And now the impact will be that when he mobilizes now, he will mobilize differently. Number 2, people also within Azimio, for example, you know, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, and this group, and Eugene Wamalwa, who've been to mountain and said every time that don't worry about the impeachment, the mountain has friends. So you know, they will come to show who are the friends of the mountain, right? Who are the friends of the mountain. Number 3, you know, according to the think tanks within President William Ruto, they strongly believe that Gachagua, although when you appoint a running mate, because you're mobilizing based, and since 2013 we've had this. We've had this 2 tribes mobilization, where we've had a deputy either from Mount Kenya and a running mate from Central Kenya, and vice versa. And now, this one, the impeachment might be an end to this that had started in 2013, when we had the 2 big communities mobilizing to take over government. This time, this impeachment might be the end of that one. You know, it started from the ICC duo to the two tribes, and then it comes to where we are today. Now, when that one happens, now there are different machinations. And previously, I told you here that midterm things changes everywhere. When midterm, even when we had these members of parliament sitting from central Kenya, because they're fighting for their lives also. Because what Gachagua is saying, I'm listening to the ground. And our people are waiting to see if those MPs will vote me out. You see? So their neck, their head is the hangman's noose, right? So we have this decision day on Tuesday, mostly for Mount Kenya. And they went, 6-7 of them went to Nyahururu, did a meeting, and they came up with the idea of bringing in Kindiki against Gachagua. So we are yet to come to terms and understand how, yesterday, some of them started retreating back. That we've now started listening to the ground. Yeah. So we don't know how much the retreat will get, because the numbers who signed were 291. Right? Yeah. Now, out of the 299, I think by yesterday we could have lost 291. Probably 10 were lost yesterday. So by the end of the weekend, on Tuesday, we know there are others who will follow suit and others will remain. So there are a lot of political machinations and a lot of political movement that will happen over the weekend. And this will determine how our politics will be towards 2027. So when you go to 2027, this is going to be like a mini referendum. When we had two or two elections, and then we went for a referendum in 2005. That referendum that we went in 2005 about Raila Odinga contest against Raila Odinga, that put Raila Odinga and some other people within the NAC against President Mwai Kibaki. It impacted in 2007. So much, there was a big impact. It was like a mini referendum on the presidency of Mwai Kibaki. This is going to happen here at midterm also. This impeachment will be...
political formation from this impeachment.
From this impeachment. People who were sacked out of the NAC government in 2005 after the referendum went on to form the COD. Is it COD? I think COD, yes. Yes, Kalonzo Musyoka and the rest who went on to form COD and now ran against Mwai Kibaki in 2007. Yes. Yes, because the referendum was in 2005 and the government lost. Right? So whatever happens on Tuesday will be a checker from that one, will be the referendum on this government and on the presidency of President William Ruto towards 2027. It will be similar. A new formation will be formed. Right. And this new formation will come with the leader of the new formation who will be the prospective running mate. And if the president decides to get, if things go like that and get a running mate outside Mount Kenya, then now we will be in an election mode until 2027.
All right. On theory or on paper, we are... In theory, the DP has about 5 options. One, he can resign before actually everything just blows up. He can decide to marshal his troops, and I'm quite sure that is exactly what he's doing in regards to the numbers of voting. Then maybe he can decide to wait for the whole process, and then maybe another option is challenging the outcome in court. And even the president can call this off. You remember us talking to Omondi, telling him, yes, the president has that power to say, hii maneno malizeni bwana, you see? So, Wakili, which is the best poison here? Because from the options themselves, none is quite good.
Well, I think in my very humble estimation, I think it's purely a question of timing. Ultimately, Mr. Oscar here, Omondi, who has now turned out to be a very truthful man, will tell you that in this politics, a day is quite, a lot of time, so that so much can happen. Now, it is important that you reflect on the ways or means in which a deputy president can actually come out of office. We have now, after the expiry of the term, now removal by way of incapacitation, removal by way of impeachment, there is resignation, there is death. So we do not know about tomorrow. So really, either of these things will happen. But at least looking at the circumstances that we find ourselves in, it is important that the deputy president looks at the times that he is in, looks at the numbers. Because ultimately, I agree with the analysts who are here for the political reasons, that this is a political process, that it does not really matter, at least from the National Assembly or the Senate, Parliament generally, it will not matter whether there is substance in that motion or not. Yes. It does not matter. What matters is numbers. And you see, that is the stupidity of democracy. Because democracy, it's the stupidest method that we have of choosing leaders, but because we do not have another one, we are just stranded. So we have opted, well, let us just use democracy for us to get our leaders. But ultimately we see the kind of choices we make as a people are choices that even we as a people after electing, we end up now regretting. So we have a context of numbers in Parliament. It's about 2/3. Whether 2/3 of all the members in the National Assembly are going to vote in the motion, then the deputy president will have been said to have been impeached by the National Assembly. So really, these numbers, you see, of course, Don here, Mwalimu here now agrees that between today and next week, Tuesday, there will be so much activities in between that we will have people, changing their stance. I have seen your women representative in Embu, all of a sudden telling us that whatever she was doing, I mean, just coming out to tell us that she did not think twice about, signing or appending her signature on the motion. We've also had a number of MPs from Nyeri as a county, coming out and saying that they have now had the ground.
Yes.
The difficulty we have with our politicians is that you can never trust them. So that today they will be saying X, tomorrow they will be saying Y. So really, it's a question of wait and see. Let us just wait and see. Let the deputy president, he's also being tested. The president currently also had his time of being tested. Between the year 2018, when we had the handshake, all the way to the year 2022, he was tested on a number of occasions. Security was withdrawn from him. We saw him having a cup of tea with the APs. That was a test. Yeah. The kind of responses that he was coming up with was a test. The kind of friends that he made during that period of time. The likes of Mudavadi. Mudavadi, you remember, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi was in one camp with Azimio.
Yeah. And he came to almost the last minute.
Yes. So you can see, because of the arrangement that the deputy president was having then, it influenced the elections of the year 2022. The same thing as is being said here. Whatever is happening now, because this is a deal breaker, whatever is happening now is going to create some consequences that we are going to see in our choice of our members of parliament, in our choice of the president, in our choice of the deputy president, come the year 2027.
Yeah. Melly, how do you think this would pan out if for any reason we have a situation where the DP is not impeached? Now, you know very well that their relationship has not been good since actually in his last interview he said the marriage was rosy for about a year. So how do they kiss and make up?
Now, if you look at what he has been saying, he has been blaming the people around the president and not the president. He said he has a good relationship with the president. It is the people around the president. So even being removed from WhatsApp group, it's not the president who removed him. Yes, and even the people are saying that even the president was removed. So the disagreement here could be between him and members of parliament and those people around the president. So if he doesn't come out...
But he himself said that if at all, before the impeachment motion, I remember him saying that if at all there is an impeachment motion against me, it will have come from the top office. That is the head of state.
Perhaps that is how they relate. So, but we also have to respect the independence of parliament. All the time we have always seen the word has come from the top. Now, whoever tabled the motion is from Maendeleo Chap Chap. the leader being Honorable Daktari Alfred Mutua. Now, I think the Deputy President now should use Solomonic wisdom at this moment. He has the child in his hand. Just the way you said, how many options he has. He has the 5 options. He has the child in hand. He can decide to kill it or hand over to one of the women. And at this point, this is where now those disciples around him, you know, there are some disciples who have denied him. Some are betraying him. But at the end of the day, if he sticks to that wisdom that he has in, that he knows, deep inside him, he knows what he wants to do. Between now and the time he's being invited to Parliament to give that, he can decide to see how the vote goes, then have an insider inside. You tell him these are the tallies. Yes, before even the speaker pronounces it, he resigns. Yeah. He survives politically. He can vie for his former Madira seat. He can decide if the president was to pick any other person, assuming that perhaps it's Ndindinyoro or Kindiki or whoever, he can decide to go for those other seats. By registering yourself as a voter in that constituency and go for it, and comes back to politics. And he will be instrumental in the 2027 elections. Otherwise, if he waits for the ultimate axe, which, looking at the numbers, assuming 70 with the draw, we have 230. From the other 50 or 60 who did not sign, we get 30 supporting, for example, or even 20. You see, he's doomed already. So, number 2, the elders the other day was speaking and saying, oh, we can intervene. The church leaders also said they can intervene. Between now and Tuesday, we have a Sunday here in between. The Holy Spirit can descend upon the president and himself. They decide with the bishops and the elders also. I wish the African spirit also can come down. The marshal and the president tells his team, no, up to here. But if you see, that is why I was asking, where is the president's voice in all this? I've been waiting for him to calm us down, to tell us, don't worry.
Actually, in many events that the head of state has been there, people are still waiting to know exactly where are we or where.
Yes, we are waiting for either the white smoke or the black smoke.
Yes.
This is like Rome when we are waiting for the Pope to be announced.
Yes. Omonde, how do you think these things might...
No white smoke will come. The silence is too loud. The president has spoken. His silence is it. That's it. That's what we are going through. We are going through the impeachment. There is no way he will come and speak for nothing. Impeachment is going to be there. The questions that you are discussing with what's the name?
With Meli.
With Meli, you are saying 5 points. I didn't remember even the 5 ones. The questions, the options are 2: resign or get impeached. 2, resign, save your skin to fight another day. Another day is hold Mount Kenya together, use it to negotiate for political space in the Kenyan political system. That is the only resigning. He has listened to the ground, he holds Mount Kenya already. He's like the king of Mount Kenya.
I would like to sample your response in regards to what if he is not impeached? How do they mend the offenses?
Okay. What if he is not impeached?
Yes. That's also an option.
He is not able to mend those fences himself. William Ruto is a natural politician. Can mend fences with Raila Odinga, can mend fences with Uhuru Kenyatta, because politics, it's like a game of chairs. The game of chairs. Wetangula, who is the speaker now, was the foreign affairs minister, where Kalonzo was the foreign affairs minister before, and now who is there? Musalia Mudavadi is now the foreign affairs minister. It's a game of chairs. Musalia Mudavadi is foreign affairs. The other day was Wetangula. The other day was Kalonzo Musyoka. Game of chairs. Prime Minister. Raila Odinga was prime minister. And today, is Musalia Mudavadi deputy prime minister or prime minister? It's a game of chairs. So, it can happen. Another thing also, which I forgot to tell you, that although Tuesday is going to be like a referendum, and Raila Odinga winning or losing AUC in February changes the whole scenario again. So these are the 2 things that I will see when Raila Odinga wins or loses that election. Raila Odinga can come here and tell you that watu wetu mnajua hata William Ruto kunipigia kura. after losing. If he says William Ruto hakunipigia kura, then he comes here and joins Gachagua and Kalonzo and the rest of these guys, and then they again form another opposition with Martha Karua. It can happen. So this is Kenyan politics.
It's true. Actually, quoting one of the greatest Kenyans during Moi time, is Lee Njiro, who said the politicians, one is a dog, one is a, but they are from the same wolf. They are the same family, so they can be able to just change positions and back in play.
I normally call them the current residents. You see, the current residents association.
Yes,
this is the team that leads the country. Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, Rigathi, Gachagua, it is the current residents association. And whenever they have their meetings at the current county club or golf club, you see, these things that are discussed in that golf club come down. I think, to me, one of the reasons why Rigathi has become an outsider, he is not a member of that type of association. That's what I'm telling you. The DNA of this guy was a DO, then he came so fast. First a member of parliament, then a deputy president. You see, people have been on queue. Musalia Mudavadi has been in the queue for long. Raila Odinga has been in the queue for too long.
Forever.
And Kalonzo Musyoka has run for presidency for many times. And people are queuing all this time. Then somebody comes from nowhere and becomes a deputy president after being a one-term president. I promise you, the political elite of this country have decided, yes, it is decided, that you are an outsider, and outsider, off you go. He will go on Tuesday. For the records, mark my word, call me here, do news check. I will tell you, I told you, Troy, that it was decided by the current county club that this is an outsider, and the way he behaves, his communicative language, a truthful man, who are lying.
All right. And Wamboi, I'm looking at the situation that could come, because he can be impeached. Those are the two options that are there. He will be impeached or not.
Or resign.
Of course, we will need to fill in that space. Yes. We have names that have been mooted, the likes of Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki, the likes of Majority Leader. We've had also some mooting, Kirinyaga County Governor. How does that shape up the politics? Because mostly our politics are so regional to the point that we are talking about the Luya unity, the Mount Kenya unity, the Coast unity. We've always talked about this. Yes. It's just that now they have been so blown out. How do you think that will play out? And what sort of DP would not only the president want, but also Kenyans want?
Well, even flowing from the preamble of the Constitution, you know, our ethnic, our ethnicity is something that is taken as our source of unity. It is not a bad thing that we have over 45 or 50 tribes in this country. It is a good thing because the diversity, the uniqueness of the Kikuyu, the uniqueness of the Kalenjin, the uniqueness, you know, of the Luos. I mean, that is what makes us in sum total. Yes. So, you know, people like me, it becomes also very difficult for, you know, people to categorize me because I've studied in a Maseno school. I am a Kikuyu, born and raised, but I have friends from the other side, and we live well. I mean, and you know, even the mursik that we get from Meli here, this is what brings us as you know, makes us very strong as a country. So, well, when you turn to you know, first let me just reflect on the queue. Because that I think is very important. It is true. I think what is coming out to display, what is coming out very clearly, at least from the political class, is that they are not very happy about this first-timer who has ascended very quickly to the high office. Yes. And you see, he's just sitting at the heartbeat of the presidency. He's the deputy president. I mean, if one thing happens and then he becomes the president. So I think there is some level of jealous you could call it envy, which has now turned into jealous. Because envy is not a bad thing. It's good to be envious that you have a good tie. So that I look for money and buy one.
Yes.
But now if I feel jealous, I start taking it away from you. I think it's a bad trait altogether. So that in itself, I think it's not a good thing. We just need to protect the constitutional order. Once we protect this constitution, we're not doing it for Rigathi Gachagua. No, Rigathi Gachagua must go. Rigathi Gachagua will go. I mean, Rigathi Gachagua cannot be in that office forever.
That is the opinion of 200.
Okay, we are getting
that is the context. No, Rigathi Gachagua, whether he likes it, whether he likes it or not, he will go. One day he will go.
Yes.
In fact, the very letter of the Constitution says that you cannot be a deputy president for more than 2 times.
Yes.
So he will have to go. Depending on the timelines.
Yes.
But now, turning now to the question about the tribe and his replacement. Remember, if because we do not know about the future, Mr. Omondi Oscar speaks very certain about the future. He has this, this spirit.
I have the skill to define future.
Perhaps he's a prophet.
He's a prophet, yes.
He's a seer.
We're hoping not a doom one.
Yes. No, he's a doom one when it comes to the people of Gachagua. Yes. So he's just professing doom here. So, the replacement of the person of the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, when you interact with Article 149, it tells us that the president will have within 14 days to propose a name to parliament of a replacement. So within that 14 days, he proposes a name, whichever it is, and I'm going to give my guesses. Now, parliament will have within 60 days to pass or to accept or reject the name altogether so that someone else can assume that office.
60 days to
within
for
60
parliament,
days.
Within 60 days.
Yes.
And the impeachment is taking what? And the public participation is only a couple of hours.
I'm telling you, the way in which this thing is being done at the National Assembly, it just tells me the issue is just predetermined. I mean, we already have a predetermined outcome. It's just a charade. So
we are on the 60 days.
Yes. No, not even the 60 days. Someone has been replaced. So let us just turn back to the 14 days, because the president will have 14 days to nominate someone and to send the name to parliament. So, the coming in of the former prime minister, his Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, he's an enigma, not for nothing. He has a way of always recreating himself, and he's not coming in to second chair the likes of Musalia Mudavadi, or to just sit there and see his Professor Kithure Kindiki just assuming office. Some people just think it is so automatic that if he walks out, because of the previous political machinations that we had during the 2022 general elections, that because it was at context between Rigathi Gachagua and Professor Kithure Kindiki, then it is automatically going to be Kindiki who is taking in the replacement. And I think it is not also for nothing that you've been seeing Kindiki trying to re-cement or remind the president of his influence by going back to mobilizing the members of parliament, so that the members of parliament say our spokesperson will no longer be the deputy president, but will be Kithure Kindiki. That is Kindiki doing it. Again, even going to members of county assembly, we've been seeing it all over, even in the news. So going to members of assembly and saying our spokesperson will no longer be, he knows too well that the person of Raila Amolo Odinga is not to be taken lightly. And from where I sit, of course, I do not have the benefit of longevity in these political scenes like my compatriots here. But the very least I can say from where I say is that if Honorable Rigathi Gachagua is removed from that office, then the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga will have a say on whoever becomes the deputy. And it will not shock you. It will not shock you if we will have a deputy who is proposed by the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And Raila Odinga is one of the most networked politicians in this country. You will be surprised that your mother is a diehard of Raila Amolo Odinga.
All right.
So that we will find that now when it comes now to the replacement, it will automatically be someone from the region where Rigathi Gachagua is coming from. And this is influenced by, the politics of this country. Right. Even from the time of, Jomo Kenyatta, you will remove a Luo and replace with a Luo. Remove a Kikuyu and replace with a Kikuyu. So the view that I'm taking from where I sit, I don't think it's just out of the ordinary to imagine PK becoming our deputy president in this country.
All right.
That's a long shot.
Come on, gentlemen.
The jury is out there.
That's what his crystal ball shows. But gentlemen, my director, Mogo Kariuki, tells me that we are running out of time. So I'm going to give you a minute each to wrap up everything. And especially, let's also look in the crystal ball, look into the future. We know very well, if he's not impeached, he remains the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. But if he's impeached, then he ceases being the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So it's, I believe it's a good thing if you look at the crystal ball, if at all that option is there.
Now, what I want to say is that there is a Swahili saying that ndugu wawili wakipigana, chukua jembe enda ukalime. Wakipatana, shika jembe, shika kapu enda ukavune. These are politicians and these are brothers. This war is political. Mwananchi wa kawaida, shughulika na duka yako, shughulika na shamba yako, shughulika na those other things you do. Because this is a political thing that the politicians are doing, and we are just pawns in a game of chess where the king has to be defended at all times. So our members of parliament, our senators, our women rep are just there to defend. This is a bishop, this is what they are defending the king. And what the king is not comfortable with has either to be sacrificed to the other team to eat. So perhaps the deputy president has it. But if the deputy president survives this, I have one message for him. Kuna hadithi ya mzee Kobe walienda safari mbinguni. Alialikwa safari mbinguni. Mzee Kobe hawezi enda juu, akatafuta urafiki kwa ndege. Kila ndege wakamsaidia mbawa. Akaweza kuruka. Hata wakaamua kwamba wakiruka hivi, hewa wanaoifanya hivyo inawasaidia kwenda juu. Kufika kule juu, chakula kikaletwa juu ya meza. Wakauliza, sasa introduce yourselves. For him, he said, my name is everyone. Yani wote. So mwenye sheria akasema, chukueni chakula umlishe wote. Perhaps he became water and ate everything alone because chakula ni cha watu wote, because that is his name. Sasa ndege wamekaa njaa, they are yawning on your side. Ndege sasa ni hao members of parliament, perhaps he has eaten everything from them. Then kila ndege akasema nirudishie mbawa yangu. Mwewe akachukua yake, tai akachukua yake, kunguru akachukua yake, ikafika wakati wa kurudi safari. He has sent the same mwewe to the ground, public participation, kuangalia. Badala ya kuleta habari nzuri chini, wakaambia mkewe Kobe amebaki kule juu. Na anasema anashuka kwa style. Weka jembe, mawe, kila kitu pale chini. Hivyo ndiye alishuka. Kobe kuangalia chini, akaona kumeandaliwa kuko sawa. Unajua ukiwa juu huwezi angalia mawe, huwezi angalia jembe. Akajiachilia. Alipofika chini alipasuka. Ndiposa mzee Kobe sasa ana nini? Magamba kwenye mgongo. Perhaps that is the thing. He should save himself. Yes, he should learn table manners with the current masters. Table manners with the current masters. Thank you.
Oscar?
My take is that politically, Gachagua is done. If he uses his own means to survive, he can survive on a salary, legitimacy gone, no privileges, no nothing, no jacket of being a deputy president. But surviving to maintain the office, be called a deputy president without powers, that is easy, can be bought. So politically it's gone. With even the 219 signatures, because politics is about perceptions, not even doing the voting. The perception has already been created, and now the people who signed against him, no matter even if it's about trust, even if he comes to the Embu governor, the Embu women rep tomorrow and say, but you signed against me when I was, that trust is gone. In a relationship, when trust is gone, it's gone. Right. Secondly, lastly, if I'm finishing, which is very important, which Wakili was almost releasing it off them. I think impeachment was discussed earlier as part of the broad-based government agreement. When, after the impeachment process is done, then we will know some part of the broad-based agreement that were not implemented then will be implemented. Sometimes what we say politics happen where political analysts don't look. So among the agreement between Raila Odinga and William Ruto were ministries 5, deputy president 4, 6, and among others PSS. So these arrangements will continue after impeachment process and getting a deputy from the broad-based agreement. Then the PSS, some of them will have to go to create room for the broad-based agreements to be achieved in total.
All right, and as we wrap up, maybe Wakili and our boxer can have the final word in 1 minute as we wrap up.
Well, I think that I'm just wishing the Deputy President well. It is a fight. All of us are called to fight. Come the 23rd day of November, 2024, I'll equally be having our battle. I will be having my match at Charter Hall, where we are just fighting so that we can raise resources and help, the boxers to go to school and help even the people who are less privileged also to buy their boxing equipment. So really, after all is said and done, it's a fight. And unlike Mr. Omondi Oscar, I'm not going to say that he's done. The only man that is done is one that is deceased. But even while he's deceased, he even speaks through his ghosts. So really, we just have to wait and see. He might be having another card that we have not seen. Man is not to be underestimated. Yeah. He can come back stronger. Even the people, the likes of the president now, also faced a lot of turmoil and confusion and a lot of storms when they were rising up. At one time, he was the minister in charge of our agriculture. There were issues. There were censor motions about him. There were so many things that were discussed about him. But he survived them all. He survived them all. He became the Deputy President of the Republic. He even survived the ICC, by the way, which we thought was his end. He came back as the Deputy President. He now is the President of the Republic of Kenya. So let us not just overrule him. Overrule the person of Rigathi Gachagua. Rising from a DO to what he's become today, jumping that queue, that in itself should tell you that he is also a man of consequences, that he can touch and multiply.
Not a man to underestimate. Gentlemen, thank you indeed so much for your valued company and insight.
Thank you.
Well, we've come to the end of our special coverage of EP Gachagua public participation exercise that has been underway in various parts of the country, actually all the 47 counties, and our reporters are really working hard to ensure that we give you the sentiments in response to what is transpiring today. And we are expecting on Tuesday that the DP will be given his time and his mic will be his time. So I say, just like the gentlemen have said, yes, we'll be here on Tuesday. Yes. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you. That is Wambui Shadrach, an advocate of the High Court and also a governance expert. Just next to him, we have Sami Kipkemboi Meli, who is a governance expert. And just next to him, we have a political scientist and also a university don, that is Oscar Omondi. It's not the first time you guys have been here. Thank you indeed so much for your time, and thank you for watching us since I think some minutes past 10 to now. Thank you so much. Do have yourself a blessed weekend ahead. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter for this whole duration. My name is Ben Troy. Enjoy. Have a good one.
She's articulate, she's charismatic, she is insightful, creative. She is our new member on the Anchors team on Prime Edition.
Alienda hospitali, aliambiwa nini, kifua.
Tiny but fatal.
Enda mpaka kwa nini, kwa neema hatukusaidika vizuri.
Join our reporter Pichu Chemtai this Sunday 6th October as she brings us the tribulations of Kamulu residents whose exposure to particulate matter, an air pollutant in the billowing dust, is taking a toll on their health.
Uongozi ambao tunapata miongoni mwetu, kuna watu ambao wamepewa ni neema, vile vile pia ni mtihani na ni fitna.
Hakuna haja kwenu nyinyi mnitii mimi hata kama mimi ni kiongozi. Kwa utamtii kiongozi na kumheshimu kiongozi maadamu yeye anamuogopa Allah.
Wanaume na wahusia, sikizeni kwa makini, mkeo muthamini, simfanyie udhi.
Ever crazy. Undoubtedly entertaining and mind-boggling.
We are doomed. Members of Parliament, we are doomed, I'm telling you.
The savage netizens capturing that unique moment.
Joining us. I mean, help us understand. I highly doubt that if you were to walk to the streets of Nairobi or any other town and you ask people who is estate agent registration board, I'm not sure how many people will tell you who is that. Why the low profile?
This is an issue that we have been addressing, and thank you so much for inviting us to the studio this afternoon. The issue of publicity is an issue that we have been working on, and we've been putting notices in the newspapers. We are very vibrant now on the social media. So it is possible that I might get a few who know who the board is. Yes, it is possible now.
I mean, you know, the board has been around, you know, since 1984, and until 3 or 4 years ago, that's when the board started coming up strongly. I mean, telling Kenyans that we are here and this is our mandate. I mean, why now?
Maybe the question I would ask is why not now? Because there is always the opportune time for everything, and there's a season for everything. And I think when we came to the office, especially myself in the last couple of years, then we made a concerted effort, and we have been working to put together structures and to put in office the persons who are able to help us even to advance the cause of the board. And I think because of that, there is a bit of publicity, and we have programs that are advancing publicity. We have regional meetings. We go to Mombasa, we go to Eldoret, we go to Kisumu, and we try to advance the cause of the board. And also locally, we have been doing a lot of publicity. We've been doing advertisements in the newspapers. We've been meeting people through the studio, like on this occasion, and just trying to advance the cause of the board and telling them it is necessary that if you are practicing as an estate agent, you need to register. And also telling them that this is a profession, and there are people who have gone to school, people who have studied in the real estate field. They have done a degree in real estate, they have done a degree in land economics, and they are qualified to serve Kenyan citizens. And we are telling the public, do not engage people who are not registered, because we have quite a number of estate agents who are registered, over 3,000 who are registered now.
Over 3,000?
Yeah.
And you are talking about over 3,000. I mean, and when you I don't know whether there is there is a proper repository of how many estate agents there are in Kenya, but I would want to imagine there are more than 10,000.
You're right, O'Brien, because we estimate in excess of 15,000 persons who are practicing in one form or another estate agency. You do realize that people will be practicing at different levels. There are some who are just brokers in the market. They just bring you and a buyer or a purchaser together and a seller together. They don't do much more than that. But the discipline of lead estate agency is much deeper than that, because we have property managers, we have people who are doing feasibility studies for projects, we have persons who are doing facilities management, we have property managers, and some of those companies that are operating even in Nairobi, we have Knight Frank, we have Tyson's, we have Lloyd Masika, we have, and they're doing very good business in town. So people do know there is estate agents exist. So what we are telling them now is that these people who serve you as estate agents, as property managers, as feasibility study, giving you those reports, as brokers, you need to ask them to produce a certificate of registration. Yeah.
You've just mentioned a number of estate agents who are traditionally known within the Kenyan market, but when you look at the number of agents that have come up in the last 10, in the last 5 years or so, I mean, we are talking about thousands of them. Why are they not registered? And you give the number of about 3,000, upward of 3,000 who are registered with the board. And you're saying that there are 15,000 who are still out there. So you have still more than 12,000 agents who are yet to be registered. Why the low number of registered agents?
What I would say, first of all, is that the real estate market has grown in the last couple of years. Actually, the last 20 years, the real estate market has boomed and expanded a lot. And you find that then the services of estate agency the demand has grown during that time. So you find also, because of lack of jobs in other sectors, like we have a lot of accountants and even lawyers who are applying for registration as estate agents. So we find, because of the demand of the service, the numbers of those who are in one form or another offering that service has grown. And then coming back to your question on why the low enrollment, first of all, I could say that possibly the resourcing of the board has not been that very good. And without resources, then it becomes impossible to niche your outreach and to go out there and more or less preach the good news.
You have been in the news, a couple of times, saying that the board is going to start a crackdown on unregistered agents. Have you started that campaign yet?
What I'll say is that, we are working on our structures, on niching our structures, our governance structures, and we are working very closely with the ministry. And I also want to really appreciate the office of the head of public service, because he has been very much at the forefront in campaigning for state agencies like ours to be empowered and to be developed and to be resourced, so that we are able to deliver on our mandate. And maybe I had mentioned to you earlier that even right now there's a meeting at the Kenya School of Government in Kabete, where we have all these agencies, and there are many who are congregating there and just going through the paces on how they can be empowered to be able to deliver on their mandate. And one of the other key things that has happened during that maybe a period of 1 year is that he has set up standing committees in every ministry to support the work of the boards. So I'm sure in the next couple of months, you're going to see a lot of change and a lot of difference in the way most of the agencies, including ourselves, operate. Because I don't think we are the only ones who have been operating not at the optimal level. There are many agencies that have not been operating at the optimal level. But the government, I think, has now a concerted effort to bring out the role of the boards and to have them properly supported and properly resourced. And I think with that, like even now, because we operate under the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, so the principal secretary in that docket now has a mandate to support the boards and ensure that they are really operating at the optimal levels. So I'm sure you're going to see a lot of change as the SAGAs or the autonomous government agencies take their place, because ideally they are an extension arm of the government. They are part of government, and they're supposed to help the ministries even to perform in their specific areas. Yeah.
And when you look at the agency that is EARB, what is this kind of support? What is this one support that you believe can unlock the potential of your agency?
In the last 3 or so years, we have set up a secretariat. Actually, we moved from a one-office secretariat, one-man, one-office secretariat. And now we have space because of the support that we have also received from the ministry and from the registered members and some of the other efforts that we have done. So there are key things that the board...
How many members do you have now? The last time I came to your organization, I mean, you are less than 2. I mean, you are less than 3, actually.
I think the secretariat now, and we have had the ministry also, give us some staff to support us. I could say the numbers have grown to about close to 10.
Close to 10
yeah,
people.
Which is good, which is good.
And you have also moved from the survey of Kenya, where you used to operate in a very small office.
Yeah, now we have offices, good offices at the a high-end building in Upper Hill, the Precinct Towers. On our 14th floor, we have very good offices, which we are working to fully equipped, and we are able to serve the Kenyans better now. Yeah.
One of your mandates is to ensure that estate agents, are registered and they are practicing within the law, and this calls for regular checkups to ensure that they are complying with laid down regulations and procedures.
Yeah.
How are you doing that without the services of inspectors or people like that?
Eventually, we'll need an enforcement arm under the board. An enforcement arm that is purely dedicated to ensure there is compliance of the laws that govern the registration of estate agents. In the meantime, we are working with the other government agencies. We are working with the Office of the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and we're working also with the Office of the Public Prosecution Agency. So with those two and others, I think we should be able to start the crackdown. But eventually, when the setup is fully done, when you have a fully fledged secretariat, we need an arm, an enforcement arm. And for us to be able to achieve that, maybe I could just update you that we are working on a review of our act, because the act that we are operating under is a 1987 law. Of course, it has been overtaken by events. We have had the Constitution come after that. We have had many other land laws that have been passed. The Land Act, the Land Registration Act, the Section of Properties Act, the
Building Code.
The Building Code, the POCAMLA and the ML laws that deal with the illicit money and proceeds of crime. And real estate, of course, has been flagged as one of the sectors that needs a lot of oversight in that area, in the areas of illicit money, because some of it, of course, would find itself in the real estate. So we are working with the Financial Reporting Center. We are working with other agencies to be able to strengthen our laws, our current laws, to review our act and develop other regulations, supporting regulations, so that we strengthen the structure of the board and also upgrade our legislative environment.
I had to pose this question to you. If there was one thing that you wish the government was to do that would change the phase and the operations of the board, what would that be?
The one big thing that will require right now, I would say maybe two big things. One is the review of that legislative environment, because that is key for us to be able to operate optimally. The other one is the
ERB Act of
the Estate Agents Act, 533 of 1987. 1987, it was operationalized in 1989, I believe. Yeah, that need to be reviewed, like yesterday. And we are working with some of the supporting agencies to review that. The other thing that, of course, we need are resources. We need financial resources. If you have financial resources, then we'll be able to put the right people in the office to be able to support the operations of the board. And also put in the programs, like publicity programs, and also work on the areas of enforcement.
You get your funding from membership and registrations and outreach campaigns, right?
Yes, yeah.
You don't receive any funding from the exchequer?
Not yet.
Is what you get enough to run your operations?
It's barely enough.
It's barely enough?
Yeah. It will not scratch the service. Yeah.
So are you having a conversation with the National Treasury to ensure that you have your allocation from the National Treasury?
Yeah, indeed. That's a discussion that we're having, first of all, with our line principal secretary and onward with our cabinet secretary. And we have engaged them in the past, and as the cycle of budgeting starts, we will revive those discussions. Yeah.
I have seen the Kenya Revenue Authority, becoming very aggressive in a bid to nab more landlords and bring them into the taxation stable.
Yeah.
And I know one of the organizations that KRA is working with is your agency.
Right.
Help us understand, how has this helped your organization to come into the public limelight?
We have had discussions with the agency, the KRA, on the matters of mostly the rental income tax, which our landlords and the water agents, the agents help the landlords to collect. And also this is our sector.
Yeah.
And our discussions have just basically evolved on how that field can be expanded and how they can maximize the taxation that is collected. And of course they have engaged even the registered estate agents directly, I think, writing letters to them to help them in the collection of the rental income tax.
Yeah. So what is your role, between KRA and the landlords? Where do you come in that value chain?
As a regulator, for us, the key thing is to ensure that the people who are offering the service of estate agency and the ones who are offering the services of property management are properly regulated. And also to ensure that they are competent to offer that service. So that is where we come in. Because if the landscape is properly regulated, if the sector is properly regulated, then it will also be easy for KRA to collect the tax. Yeah. So that's how we come in, because our role is very easy, is to protect the public. Is to protect the public interest in matters of real estate, and especially when it comes to the practitioners who are offering that service. So what we are encouraging, especially the landlords, is not to employ or contract people who are not registered to be their estate agents.
How do I know that an estate agent is registered with EARB?
Every estate agent who is registered has a certificate of registration. And every year they take up an annual renewal license for them to be able to practice. So anyone who is claiming to be an estate agent should be able to produce a certificate of registration and a current license for that year. And also we have our website, www.estateagentsboard.or.ke. On our website, we have a list of all the registered estate agents, and also those who are in current. Yeah, they are out there.
More than 3,000.
Yeah, and the ones who are in current standing, they are there. They are there in our website, and also every year we gazette the entire list of all the estate agents who are registered and those who are practicing. So every year before March, we have statutory obligations to gazette all the estate agents who are registered. So then it becomes very easy. Recently, we also automated our processes. So if you go to our system, you'll be able to get the list of the persons who are registered.
I mean, if you're just joining us, you're watching Inside the Government. We are live from our national headquarters here at Broadcasting House. Our conversation this afternoon, we are looking at the Estate Agents Registration Board, which is the agency in charge of regulating estate agents in this country. We are talking to the chairperson of the board. This is none other than Eunice Macharia, and you're watching us live. And I just want to find out from you, Nancy, Eunice, sorry. There's so many people who are not registered with you, not because they're not willing, but probably maybe they don't even know the process. They don't even know where to start. How do I start the process of registering as an agent?
The process of registration is simple because we have a statutory form, which now we have also automated. You can access it on our website. And you said your website is? Our website is www.estateagentsboard.or.ke.
Very well.
Yeah. So if you come to our website, you'll be able to access the form. The form is actually a statutory form and a statutory form. So you can access that and fill in the details. The details will be asking you to fill in the basic details like, your academic qualifications, your practice as an estate agent, what is your experience in that field. We'll be asking you to give us the name of your recommender, someone who knows you, who can advocate for you and say, I know this person, they are people of good repute and good discipline. Then we'll be asking for normal documents like the police clearance certificate, and also be asking for basic information like your KRA PIN and etc. etc.
For me to be qualified as an agent, what do I need? What qualifications do I need?
Like I said before, estate agency is a profession. And we have several universities right now in Kenya who are teaching or offering tuition in real estate, degree in real estate. We have universities like the Technical University of Kenya. We have Nairobi University who have offered it for the longest, because the degree before was called Land Economics. They train basically valuers and also estate agents. And University of Nairobi has been offering it for the longest time. And that's where I trained. And also we have other universities like Kenyatta University, you have Mount Kenya University, and among others who are offering a degree in real estate. So it's a profession, and anybody who is aspiring to become an estate agent should be able to go through the training, either it's a degree or a diploma, because that's what the law says, yeah? And also, for you to be equipped to offer that service, you need to study a lot of land laws. You need to understand the legal landscape when you're dealing with property. You need to understand issues of planning. So that when you're selling a property to your customer, you're not telling them this property is suitable for a petrol station. And when you go to the planner to apply for approval, they tell you it's only suitable for to put up a house for your family, one single dwelling. Yet when it was being marketed, because it's on a highway, it was being marketed as a commercial property. But this is not a commercial property, it's a residential property. So unless you understand the principles of planning, then you'll not be able to offer a good service. If you don't understand the economies around estate agents, you'll not be able to offer a good service. So real estate is a profession that you need to go to school and study real estate, or do a related course that prepares you and equips you. Then you also be looking at your experience. You'll be looking at this person who has come to us for registration. Do they have the requisite experience to be able to go out on their own and practice as estate agents? And many times when they come, we refer them back and tell them, find a qualified estate agent and work under them for a year or 2 years so that you are properly equipped to offer that service. So there's a bit of training, academic, and there's also the area of practice and a registered estate agent, so that you are fully and totally equipped to be able to offer service. And that's what the law, the law says, the law gives the board the mandate to ensure that those who are practicing have the necessary qualifications and competencies to offer that service.
What are the ramifications of an estate agent operating without proper documentation and licenses?
The biggest of all is they'll be acting outside of the law. So it's illegal, actually, to operate as an estate agent without registration. So, and if the board catches us up with you, or the enforcement agencies catches up with you, because there's nothing right now that stops even a policeman from arresting you when you're operating as an estate agent without a license.
Do they know that, the police officers?
Yes, they know that. We are engaging the IG on those matters. We have engaged his office, so they know. If you are operating as an agent without a license, you are operating outside of the law. It's illegal. So anyone who is acting as an estate agent without registration is an illegality. That has a lot of ramifications. First of all is that you cannot enter into a valid contract with anyone and be able to support it. For example, you cannot enter into a contract with someone who is selling their property to act on their behalf, because that contract cannot be enforced. It's an illegal contract. Because if you are operating an illegal entity or you are doing an illegal action, then even if you sign a contract with a principal or with a client for you to act on their behalf, that contract cannot be enforced. And we have seen a lot of cases where purporting agents, who we call quacks, you assist a property owner. They have assisted property owners, for example, to sell a property, including some very prime properties in Nairobi. And when there is a dispute in regards to their commission, and some of those disputes have ended up in court, the courts have upheld that that person cannot earn a commission because they are not registered. We have had several cases that have been ruled that way, and they have lost their commission because the courts cannot enforce an illegal contract.
You see, the definition of as an estate agent to many Kenyans is person who has an idea of a number of vacant rooms in an apartment, and they take you there, you give them some money, and that is their understanding. But what is the proper understanding of an estate agent?
The estate agent has several roles. Yeah. The basic one, is the selling and the letting, what you have described. Well, a person who takes you to a property tells you, this property is on sale, it is on sale at this much, then they'll help you to negotiate for the property, and they'll help you to maybe buy it. And most of them edit at that point. However, a qualified estate agent should be able to take you through the entire process, from the point of marketing that property, the point of contracting, like doing a letter of offer or doing a sale agreement. They should be able to take you through the process of conveyance until a property is registered in your name. Most of the brokers who are in the market, they don't understand the entire process. So once they have reached a deal, then they take that client to a lawyer or to the property owner, they hand them over. So letting and selling is one of the services that estate agents offer. Preparation of real estate service or market service and collection of data, that's another service. If you, for example, you are a foreigner, you're coming to invest in Nairobi, or even a local, and you have money and you want to invest in real estate, who advises you which is the right investment for you to get into? That would be a real estate agency. Why? Because they understand the market, they understand the clientele, they understand the kind of income that you expect or that is generated from those properties. So they are able to advise you on which is the right property to invest in given your kind of resources. They also help you to acquire sites. You see, like Kengen and others who are doing site acquisitions for power and whatever. An estate agency is able to come to you and tell you, Brian, you have this piece of land, Kengen would like to acquire it. And then they would help you through the process.
They will guide you through that process of acquisition.
Then we have others who will help you through the entire, what you said, the entire conveyancing, from the beginning to the end, from the point you identify a property, the entire process of contracting to the transfer of that property.
So the services of an agent, I mean, it goes beyond buying, letting, and selling.
Yeah, and we have property managers who are managing very big properties in Nairobi. The malls are being managed by property managers, retail managers. We have people who are managing even a property like this that belongs to KBC. You could say, we don't want to manage it for ourselves. We need a facility manager. They'll come and help you to maintain the building. They'll oversee the services of your service providers, the security, the service providers for fire, cleaning, maintenance, and all those services.
Very good. I mean, we are coming to the close of this conversation, but I just want to hear from you. Apart from what you have told us, what else do we need to know about ARB and your operations in 30 seconds?
I think you need to know that ARB is a government agency. It's an extension of government. It is government. So if you are operating without registration, then you are doing an illegality. And it's just a matter of time before the arm of the law can catch up with you. And also, if you are offering, if you need a service of an estate agent, you should employ the services of persons who are qualified and who are licensed to give service in a state agency. I'll tell you why. Because we also have a whole disciplinary process. And the estate agents, when they do some misdeeds, we can take them through that discipline. So you have a fallback, as opposed to employing people who are not registered, and sometimes landlords and property owners have lost property through that.
Very good. Eunice Macharia, thank you very much indeed for joining us this afternoon on Inside Government, and of course for sharing with us those insights.
Thank you.
O'Brien Kimani is my name. You have been watching Inside Government live from Broadcasting House. We do this again on Friday next week. Until then, obviously have a good afternoon.
We are here to create awareness, offer support and encouragement to those who have been afflicted by this condition. And we will be sitting down with those who know firsthand what it's like to raise and to be around somebody with CP.
I'm a mother of 4 years old boy with CP. My boy got CP.